Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Garoppolo did what a lot of betting fans predicted in week 6 and left the game in an ambulance. And we hope this guy recovers. But backup QB Bryan Hoyer, got revenge on Raiders fans who greeted him with boos. Head coach Josh McDaniels also finally acted like his job was on the line. And Max Crosby helped seal the victory after almost costing the Raiders the game. We're going to break down this Raiders versus Patriots matchup, one of the ugliest wins I've seen in quite a while, but at least it's a win. And maybe Bryan Hoyer, he is him. Like and subscribe for more Raiders content. See how I don't drag that out? I'm dragging it out by dragging it out, but you get what I'm saying. This was a big matchup for Josh McDaniels facing his mentor Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and it was an even more dire situation for McDaniels because we learned right before the game via The Athletic, via ESPN's Diana Rossini, that Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat here. There was a report published by The Athletic right before the game that there have been whispers around the league that Josh McDaniels could be in trouble if Las Vegas doesn't start winning, so this team is in a win now mode. And this is about the Raiders looking for a pass rusher. They're in the market for one after the Chandler Jones situation, and they're trying to trade Hunter Renfrow as well, and that's why we did not see Hunter Renfrow use that much in this game, and that is why there was a lot of pressure on Josh McDaniels today. Isn't that crazy? Hearing that you may be fired right before you clock in for work. Bill Belichick has been feeling the heat as well. There have been reports that Robert Kraft would be open to moving on from the guy. This was literally the hot seat bowl. Whoever loses gets fired. Mac Jones was also on a short leash with the New England Patriots, but he did not end up getting benched in this game despite some of the most horrendous interceptions that we have seen in a long time. Mac Jones on the run, throwing the pick to Trayvon Merrick, stressing Bill Belichick out, making Bill Belichick throw freaking iPads on the ground. The Patriots look like the Patriots, pissed off, unsuccessful, and barely hanging on. And Josh McDaniels, since he kind of parodies Belichick, parodies the Patriots, kind of did his own parody of the Patriots situation and played to their level. There were some flashes in the beginning of the game with Jimmy Garoppolo connecting to Michael Mayer, the rookie tight end. Jacoby Myers also had a great first half of the game. And there was a moment when you thought, hey, is Josh McDaniels going to get a blowout here? Are the Raiders going to get back on track offensively? Then all of a sudden, the Raiders offense started being the Raiders offense. You saw this ridiculous hospital ball from Jimmy G to Davante Adams. Davante Adams got absolutely wrecked here, and Davante Adams had to sit out of the game. We were wondering if he was going to be okay. Fortunately, he was okay, and he was able to return and play in the game. But it was just one of those moments when you saw the offense start to slow down. You saw them utilize Davante Adams in a weird way. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really want my superstar wide receiver taking hits like that in the middle of the field. I'd much rather this guy do what he does best and make some catches on the sideline. So Davante Adams would remain healthy, but Jimmy Garoppolo, unfortunately, would not remain healthy, and he suffered an injury to his back, and he actually was hospitalized. He had to go to the hospital. Apparently, they're just being cautious here, and it's no big deal. We'll find out the real details soon, but it did not look good. The guy was in visible pain, and you were really able to tell the injury through his play. His play really started to suffer late in the second quarter, and I believe it was because of that injury. Not only was Jimmy Garoppolo not doing well at all going into this game. The guy leads the NFL in interceptions. There's no way to avoid that poor production. But on top of that, he had the injury, the offense was falling apart, and he ended up having to leave that game. Look, Raiders fans are upset because they really want Aiden O'Connell to come in and start right away. And Josh McDaniels decided to make Aiden O'Connell inactive for this game. Bryan Hoyer was the second string QB. The Raiders fans were really upset when they saw Bryan Hoyer take the field at halftime, and Josh Jacobs was kind of upset with Raiders fans. They ended up booing Bryan Hoyer.
We trusted these guys. We practice with them every day. We know what he's capable of. You know, to hear the fans boo him and shit was kind of crazy.
But that's a big mistake. You can't sleep on the GOAT Bryan Hoyer, the 38-year-old quarterback. And Hoyer was actually a guy that was replaced by Jimmy Garoppolo by the Niners in 2017. The Patriots traded Jimmy G to the Niners, and Bryan Hoyer was released and then signed back with the Patriots. And so he was getting revenge on his former team, the Patriots, and he was also sort of showing that, hey, maybe Maybe I could have hanged and done well with the Niners if you would have given me a shot in 2017 instead of going for Jimmy G. And Bryan Hoyer started it off hot with a deep ball to Trey Tucker, a huge long bomb, 50-yarder. I don't think I've seen Jimmy G throw something that deep all year.
But he came out there and bombed him and shut him up. So, I mean, it just is what it is.
And so it had me saying what I was sort of saying when the Raiders played the Chargers a few weeks ago. I'm all in on Bryan Hoyer, and I think he kind of gives the Raiders a better shot to win it. And he was able to look competent. He looked healthy, but ultimately the drive stalled out. Had a little disagreement with Davante Adams. He went there to target Jacoby Myers. Adams felt like he was open and expressed some displeasure, and you saw them sort of talking about it afterwards. And it wasn't only just Davante Adams talking to Bryan Hoyer about some of his decision making, but it was also Josh McDaniels. And this is why I think the seat is getting hot. McDaniels made references after the games about how he's a little more stressed than usual.
We know we have to clean some things up so we can win and not take years off my life. Yes, sir. You hear me on this?
You could really tell the seat is getting hot because the guy was unleashing on Bryan Hoyer. Bryan Hoyer did not hit a target. I believe Davante Adams, who he felt was open. Josh McDaniels slamming things on the ground, seems upset. But it seems like McDaniels is comfortable with Bryan Hoyer, has known him for even longer than Jimmy Garoppolo. So maybe that's why he feels cozy with him, able to be real with him, able to unleash on him. And even though Bryan Hoyer made some mistakes in this game, he was still 6 of 10, 100 yards. He stretched the field a little bit, and ultimately the Raiders got the dub. But once again, if we're gonna be real, it wasn't the offense that gave the Raiders the dub. It came down to the Raiders defense, who continues to make plays week in and week out. This might be the best Raiders defense we've seen in a long time. Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, not looking that bad at all. And maybe Chandler Jones was right the whole time that he should have been the head coach. He's that Ivy League man. Maybe we need him. You had something insane happen, which was sacks from players other than Max Crosby. Adam Butler, John Jenkins, they all got in the mix. Bilal Nichols was credited with the game-ending sack too. One interesting thing about Adam Butler, he felt ghosted by Bill Belichick. He was on the Patriots from 2017 to 2021. Belichick ghosted the guy after the game.
It did make me very upset that, Bill didn't even have the respect for me to say anything after the game. Not even congratulate me, tell me, you look good or you don't look good, whatever, kiss my ass, something. But he didn't say anything. So kind of felt, disrespected, made me feel kind of, made me feel bad.
So Bill B seems like he's stressed out, he's upset, he might lose his job. The Patriots looked as bad as ever. But it seems like it was very unusual for Belichick to ghost Butler like this if he was so surprised by it. That's messed up, Bill Belichick. You gotta have more class, especially while you're getting your ass whooped. I think I'm bad at rapping. Ultimately, the Raiders had some drives that stalled out. The running game was not that great. 25 attempts for 77 yards for Josh Jacobs here. That's under 4 yards a carry. That's not great. And they didn't score a touchdown in the whole entire second half. They only scored one offensive touchdown in this game. The Patriots ultimately climbed back in this game with Mac Jones. They were able to move the football down the field eventually against the Raiders. The Raiders were just too complacent, I felt like, and they let the Patriots hang in it. And the Patriots seriously had a shot. They had a shot to come in and maybe even win this freaking game. With less than 2 minutes, all they needed to do was to get into field goal range to win the freaking game. They were right there. One of the worst teams and the worst offenses in the NFL is somehow neck and neck with the Raiders, even though the Raiders have amazing players on their roster like Max Crosby, Davante Adams, and Josh Jacobs. And Max Crosby had made a critical mistake on the previous Patriots drive, where he did a boneheaded roughing the passer call on Mac Jones, allowing the Patriots to get a first down on third down and eventually score. But he made up for it here. The whole entire defense won this game for the Raiders, and that's been a rare thing, but it's been happening more and more and more. And Mac Jones was backed up against his own end zone, fearing Max Crosby, fearing players like Bilal Nichols, who got in on this game-ending sack, a safety to win the game. And now the Raiders, thanks to their defense mostly, are able to finally score more than 20 points in a freaking game. Genius Josh McDaniels, the offensive guru, Kangaroo finally found a way to score over 20 points. He just needed his defense to get a safety. Even though it was an ugly win for the Raiders, they still got the win at the end of the day. They are now technically on a win streak. But you know, they say Jimmy G's a winner. All he does is just win. Jimmy G had to leave the game today. We don't know if he's going to be healthy. But Bryan Hoyer technically won the game. Even though it was a good defense, he technically won the game. He's just a winner. Maybe the Raiders should give Bryan Hoyer a shot, especially if Jimmy Garoppolo is not ready to go. And Aiden O'Connell, the rookie quarterback, he got a full week's worth of reps and just still did not look like he was ready to go for an NFL game, especially with the Raiders offense, which is supposed to be complicated. And Bryan Hoyer, even though he had not taken a snap from Andre James in over 3 weeks, the guy filled in nicely and made some mistakes, but no turnovers, no critical errors. And he was able to stretch the field, and I think that's big. I think that's really what's missing from the Raiders offense is that deep ball. Teams are loading up the box, knowing they're not going to throw it deep, and that's making it harder for Josh Jacobs. Josh McDaniels, did he save his job by getting this narrow victory against a bad Patriots team? Let me know your thoughts on this ugly win in the comments below, but hey, it's just a win. You got to celebrate, and I think the Raiders are on track to maybe get a win streak going here. We'll see if this buys Josh McDaniels some more time. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.